This episode of Pixel Sift is proudly sponsored by Murdoch University School of Arts with courses in games, sound, radio, screen, communications, journalism, or you could be like one of us, the all Murdoch crew that we've got here today. There's an extensive range of top quality fields that can propel you into your future career. It's never too late to get involved and to improve your skill set, so search Murdoch University for more information and to start down the road to knowledge. Murdoch University School of Arts proudly sponsoring Pixel Sift.
Pixel Sift.
Hello and welcome to Pixel Sift. We're in a different setup today. We're in the TV.
You know what? I don't even like the intro music anyway.
Yeah,
so,
who needs the intro music?
You can put that in
We'll
later.
we'll do it afterwards.
Yeah.
My name is Gianni, and each week we do a podcast, a games show, a variety show of different things. And this week,
we talk about variety. We only ever talk about games. That's all we talk about.
We occasionally talk about.
We wanted to talk about cars once, and you said no.
No, unless they're car games. That's it.
Yeah.
Mitch is my co-host in crime. Has been here since the beginning. Mitch, thanks for joining us as always.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And we're also joined by other ex-Murdoch students, Murdoch alumni. Matthew Sear and Jak Gem. They're from Artisans Games, and they're going to be telling us all about their game, Collateral Damage.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming here, guys.
Thank you. It's lovely to actually be here, and it's an interesting little setup we got today.
Yeah.
This is completely different from what it normally looks like. So you've caught us on I guess is this an off day for us?
We're mixing things up.
Yeah.
You got to be agile and changing. What else are we checking out today, Mitch?
Yeah. So we're also having a look at how some game developers, like some indie game developers, can be charging a little too low prices for their games, and how that can be doing them a disservice.
All that and more coming up today on this episode of Pixel Sift. Shall we jump in?
Yeah, why not?
Sounds good.
Pixel Sieve!
It's not Pixel Sieve, it's Pixel Sift.
Pixel Sieve!
Yeah, so we can all agree that cheaper games are better for all of us and for everyone. But while reading an article by Sergey Golovkin, we started to think that lower prices on some indie titles might be doing the creators a disservice.
Now, Sergey Golovkin, if you do not know that name, if that name doesn't roll off the top of your tongue and off the top of your head...
I only know his name. I don't know how to pronounce that because I've been doing the...
I think it's Galyonkin, but who knows?
I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how to pronounce
Any Russian speakers out there, let us know how you say that one. Is actually the developer and creator of the tool Steam Spy, which basically scrapes the Steam database, grabs a bunch of information about ownership, about sort of pricing, and gives an idea of how many people are actually playing the games. All of this is kind of built into the API or like the tools that Valve build, so that people can sort of build apps and all these sort of things.
So I actually never really understood how it works. So I guess he just sends a bot through and just...
Basically, there's a whole bunch of feeds that Valve have, a bit like an RSS feed like you would get with a podcast, and he just takes that feed and then turns it into something that's it's a website basically. So he's feeding information from there. Right. Like when you'd go to the weather and you'd find out what the weather feed is, and you find out what the weather is now.
Because Steam Spy that's pretty much where we go for information, and we don't even go to Steam, like as journalists anyway. We don't even go to Steam itself because Steam offers actually quite not very much in terms of numbers.
It's an interesting, it's a really interesting platform. And from this, obviously Sergey has worked out that it's in his opinion that indie games on the whole not charging enough for what it costs to make a game. And some people are selling themselves short. Now, the one example that he kind of pulled out as something that was a bit different to that, something that wasn't, was an example for people to follow was The Witness, which was done by Jonathan Blow, who previously did games like Braid, and it has it's a cool puzzly islandy sort of game. But he sold that at $40 US when it came out. So that was the kind of pricing that he's like, hey, it's an interesting game. You should be selling your games at that price. Now, I've got a couple of game developers sitting right here in the process of designing a game. What do you guys think, one, as gamers of pricing, and two, what do you think about as game developers who are about to sell their game to the world?
For me, there's actually quite a lot of factors into the whole pricing element. So for an example, the example you just gave, The Witness came after a prequel game that was already quite hyped. So I actually think the idea of selling for like $30 to $40 is actually good, and I like that idea that they're doing that. The only issue that I have with it is that there's going to be a lot of people that will be like, but there are these cheaper games on the market. Why would I not just buy the cheaper games on the market? So the problem comes with the whole economical stance of the other games that are undercutting themselves. They're also undercutting others. It's a bit of a dilemma there with it.
Do you think it's because Jonathan Blow had this reputation that everyone knew that he was going to make something that was kind of interesting and cool, that he could even do that? Like, would you guys feel comfortable to even think about charging $40 for your game?
Well, we're actually contemplating like $30 for our game, but that's AUD rather than USD. So $40 is like $50 to us.
How do you come to that number? What are you?
Well,
$30 seems like a reasonable amount. Most people have got that. That's like going and buying 2 burritos.
Like it's all with him. He has a also reputation. So I believe that when you are going to the market, and you're going to put a price tag on your product. You need to still actually build up a reputation. So it's easy for even AAA studios to put higher price tags on their actual products that they put out, because they have proven that their products are good and people can enjoy them, and you know what you're getting. Where like an unnamed studio that has a couple of titles out, or a person that has a limited reputation, you don't know, and you're also taking a risk by investing your money into that product.
AAA developers, or publishers, I should say, they also have a big marketing budget to uphold as well. They need to really, I guess, justify those millions of dollars just spent making that live-action TV trailer and things like that. So I guess that's also the reason why they have to deliver on, I guess, profits. So they have to beat this price. Of course, a lot of money goes into making them.
Saying that, I do believe in actually paying money for what you want. I do find that, for example, you can see that with, let's say, app stores, where most games have went free to play. A lot of people are now accepting I won't buy apps. I will just play free to play games, and I find things like that have hindered the the App Store with people wanting to pursue it. That's why even us have as a company are not as interested in developing for mobile devices. It's just because it's too much of a risky venture, for putting years of work into a particular product and not be sure that it will have any return.
Well, what's the major risk that you guys are thinking? Where is something that you're okay, we need to make sure that we manage these risks when you're releasing into any market?
For pricing particularly, one of the major risks is, so for example, if we undercut ourselves, so for example, you see a lot of games on Steam that are $2 or $5. A lot of the time you'll often assume that they're just poor quality because they're being sold for so cheap, which isn't always necessarily the case. But if you go too high, then you have the same issue of people being well, why would I play that over a cheaper game? And then you have the other risk that's been introduced over the past few years with the whole concept of free-to-play games. Why would somebody play that game over a free-to-play game? And that's where a lot of the challenge comes, is you need to actually be able to generate the interest to get a community involved, to get a community wanting to play the game, because just throwing a game out there and hoping, it's worked for obviously Undertale was a big success story and that kind of concept where it came out of nowhere, but a lot of the times there's games that come out of nowhere that just fade into obscurity.
It's interesting that you mentioned free to play, because I find that in terms of MMOs, as soon as one goes free to play, that seems to be it's at death's door at that point. Star Wars, I think the Old Republic went free to play, and I was oh great, that'll make more people play it, and that didn't work. It seems like if you need to do something like that to get people to play, I guess the price is not the problem. It's the game.
I guess there's a difference though between games that start off free to play and games that convert to free to play.
Right.
So for example, obviously League of Legends started off free to play, and that's a monolithic kind of game, where it's something like a game that I actually thought was really good was by 2K Games. Was it Battleborn? Battleborn, yeah. Which was a really good game. It had the consequence of coming out at the exact same time as Overwatch. And unfortunately, their marketing was terrible.
I think
it died, and now that's gone free to play because it was already dead.
It was also funny because when they did decide to switch to free to play, they didn't want to declare it as free to play. They were like, it's was it like a trial or
free
something?
to start or something.
It was like
that.
a free trial. It was like a trial free or something. I don't know. And because as well, when they did do the switch, they did hardly any marketing prior to that. It was just.
This is how little marketing they did. I didn't know it was free to play until you told me just then.
Oh, wow. There you go.
I didn't know. I just learned that.
Battleborn and like Overwatch are like big AAA sort of stuff though,
Right.
right? So they're big studios. Like Battleborn's probably smaller than
It's
Blizzard.
more like a double A.
Yeah, Blizzard is obviously massive and has a huge budget and is able to do these massive things with what they've got. But I guess the thing that Sergey was trying to say is that at that indie level, where you maybe are in a small 3 or 4 person team, or maybe you're an individual like Jonathan Blow working, he's saying that there should be a higher value of the work that you put in. How much do you guys pay for indie games? I know I personally spend a lot of time buying bundles. Like I'll buy money for the Humble Bundle. Part of that is because I like to buy games because I like the idea of them. I probably will actually never play that game, even though I will buy
See,
it.
that's another story altogether.
Yeah, but like if there's a good game that I hear is good.
So that's the part that's disheartening, is the idea that somebody could just buy a game but not play it.
But my thing is that buy the game to support the people, because if I like the idea, and quite often if there's games that I know that I won't have time to play, I will say, if I've spent time watching someone play it on Twitch, I'll go, well, look, I'm going to buy it because the people who made the game deserve some money back for the thing that they've done. So there's plenty of games like that where I've spent, like No Man's Sky, for example. Like I have that on PlayStation 4. I maybe played it for about 3 hours or something.
I'm sorry, man.
And then I realized it was
I'm just
too big of a game for me, right? I'm like, I know this is going to be something that's really engrossing.
They
so
just implemented online.
I know. It's just, it's such a big
only
thing.
took
It's a
them,
little
like-
late.
I think you might find yourself pretty alone there, Johnny. Like buying games just for the sake of buying them and supporting the developer. Because
Like Transistor, for example, is another example of a game. Like I play that a bit at my brother's house, and I want to be able to have the ability to go back and play it at some point in the future if I've never liked to. But I know that realistically, I'm playing Zelda, and that's going to be the main
You
thing
know what I
consuming my
like
time.
to do with games is when you see a game and you like the game and it looks good and they've invested into it. I like it when when I'm happy enough to pay a decent price. I don't look for those undercut specials usually, or try to undercut it, because I think this game's decent and it deserves to actually get like what they're asking for it. So I don't go buying like tons of games, but the games that stand out and that look really cool and I enjoy, and my Twitch streamers and like all the YouTubers that I like enjoy playing it. I will say I'll pay the full $1 for that. I think the issue is when you're trying to always reduce the prices and people are always trying to undercut for special, and it's sort of like, it's fair, but
it's human nature. People
it's
are trying to get the best.
human nature.
best
It's like
deal.
you go to the shop and you look for the best special, and you don't generally buy it if it's not a special.
Yeah, but I guess it's hard when you are competing with some of these really great specials from people who might have a AAA budget to market this game, have already sold enough, and now they're going, okay, well, we can get our secondary or third sales on a bundle and go from there. So it's really interesting. I think one of the examples that comes to mind is Minecraft, when it originally came out in its alpha version. Kind of was, when it was Notch just working on it by himself, sold at about sort of $10 to $12-ish.
Yeah, I remember paying
the first few
$11
parts
for
were
it.
like completely free.
Yeah.
Because I got Minecraft for free.
Yeah. So
So
you start.
you got the full license for free.
Yeah.
And that license
I've still
is
got it
updated.
valid, yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you got in early, there was this sort of tiered system, and one of the recommendations that Sergey said was like maybe what indies should do, and I'm wondering if this is something you guys would ever be interested in doing, instead of doing an early discount, like a 10% off or whatever for people to buy into your game early, give people like almost like a pre-order DLC style thing. So like, you know, when you go to a big box retailer and they say, you get this extra sword. Or
Are you asking for a marketing job?
Actually, on that subject, we're kind of handling it a little bit differently. We're actually planning, well, we're hoping that if we do actually get like enough people supporting it, that we'll be releasing like the first whole lot of like DLC characters and maps and stuff like entirely free if we get enough interest.
Yeah.
Because our biggest goal with Collateral Damage as a game is less about making, like, don't get me wrong, I really want to make money, because being poor and eating $7 a day budget food sucks. But our main objective with Collateral Damage is to build a community. Like, we want to, like...
We want to grow as a business and as a game developing company so that people know us and enjoy what we make, and that's our number one priority with it. So it's all about generating that community, and we're willing to like offer as much as we can if we can get those numbers. So it's sort of as the larger the community we can get, the actual cheaper we can make the product, and that's what we want to do. Because if we can give the product at a decent price and give all this extra content out, then yeah, that's something, you know, worthwhile. Like a community is much worthwhile than actually just having it. And it's the same with actually going back to what you were initially talking about with Sergey. He says that you know, indies should put higher prices. I would agree, we should put higher prices, but that's for people maybe more established. You know, indies need to get to that point of being established. We need to prove ourselves to our like customer base that we are good and that we can produce good games. And that's where I think if you're doing it right, you're reducing your game's price, but you're reducing its price and offering more to a community to grow that, you know. And then of course, once you've got that, then you can actually you've got that community backing you up, where you can start like putting like a decent price tag on your products. Because what you're making then is you have a good team. You have like more than just a couple of developers. You've got a whole slew of developers all working together, so you have to pay more people. So then of course you have a product that requires like that higher recognition.
I feel like that would make your early loyal fan base, I think that would make them feel pretty good, like they got in on the bottom line, like and like on the bottom level, and they were like ready to go when you needed the support. And then suddenly, if you have to increase your prices later to support your bigger team, your very hardcore fans, I think they might appreciate that. Because I feel like when I bought Minecraft, I bought it at $10, and now it's like, I think it's a 20. Is it 40 now? It's not 40.
On Switch, it's $40. Yeah.
You serious?
But to be
40.
On that note, though, everything on the Nintendo Switch is like overpriced. Like they released the Disgaea 5 that was released like 2 years ago or something for $90, like full price, and it was just like I could get that on my PlayStation.
What is going on, Nintendo?
It's a really interesting conversation, I think. I feel like everyone thinks they've got the grand idea about what's the ideal way to do all these things, but maybe there isn't one size fits all. It is never.
That's the thing. It's like our world and our economy and everything is changing. You'll never know exactly what the right thing is. You just do what you can with the information you've got.
The games industry, though, especially right now, is evolving, because now you've also got like Twitch streaming and stuff like that, which is starting to prove to be like one of the biggest sellings of like games and stuff in general. Is like people will see like somebody playing the game and they'll be like, oh cool, I'll get that.
Plenty of people who've seen us playing games, and I'm sure they've gone out and purchased them
Yes,
straight
because
away.
they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is exactly right. The market has sort of changed in a different way, and there isn't this one size fits all sort of solution to all of these things. If you've just tuned in, we're joined by Matthew Sear and Jak Gem. They're from Artisans Games. My name's Johnny, this is Mitch, of course. And we've been talking a little bit about pricing and games and all that sort of stuff. But we want to ask you guys all about your game, which is called Collateral Damage. Yeah. Now, can you tell us a little bit about it for people who may have not heard about it, or who would, you know, give them a taste test?
All right. Well, Collateral Damage is a hoverbot brawler arena. Basically, you're wrecking bots, just smashing face, and you're going wild in like split screen or split screen online, or just
Single player online.
or single player, up to you. So yeah.
The idea is that we're making kind of like, I suppose you could call it primarily a hero brawler. It's kind of like the idea of like a Super Smash Bros. In like a 3D kind of environment. Each character is like a robot. There's a resource system. They've got like an ultimate skill similar to like MOBAs and that. Funnily enough, at one point we actually had cooldowns and stuff like that similar to MOBAs and stuff like that. That's all gone. We've moved it towards being like more and more of a brawler kind of aspect. Yeah. One, we don't want to compete with Overwatch because we saw how that went with Battleborn.
No one wants to compete with Overwatch.
Yeah, let's compete with Overwatch.
I'm worried that we have yellow on our logo and that competes with Overwatch's logo.
Yeah.
Because we keep attending events, like we've been to Perth Game Festival and the Adelaide Avcon. And we've like progressively been getting feedback, so people didn't enjoy the cooldowns and stuff like that, so we just cut them. People liked the idea of guarding, like in Super Smash Bros. Every character can guard, so we gave every character that option. We've got like basically it's really hyper paced as well. Every character can jet and dodge and attack and
well, that's the entire movement. It is just fast paced, like brawling crazy fun. Like you can take it where you can be more serious and you can try to be like super competitive with your friends, but a lot of the time it is really really casual and really fun. And one also great thing that when I was down at AvCon, we have a really nice ultimate system, and it's really fun to watch even players that fall behind, because players that fall behind can do more skill plays to get their ultimates off, and it helps really like balance everybody out. So it's basically cutthroat competition all the way up.
So is that like a barrier for people who are better at the game, or is it sort of like a Mario Kart blue shell sort of situation?
It's kind of like a catch-up mechanic where if you kill the people that are a higher point system than you, like that are higher up the ladder than you, you'll get more.
Or just get lucky by killing them.
Or get lucky.
That'll be me.
Kill steal your mates.
You can kill steal.
Like, it's not a guarantee that you will overcome them, like, where you blue shell somebody at the red line and then you'll just easily take across it. It's more a case of you can build up to your ultimate quicker, which will help you catch up. Because so we're not focusing on the idea of the game being hyper competitive. So it is competitive in the sense of you and your mates being like, no!
Yeah.
But we want it so that at every stage there's not like, so there's one beast player that's just like 1,000 points in front of the other people.
And you're basically, everyone's just fighting for second.
So you mentioned that people didn't like the cooldown effect. So how much of that kind of feedback do you need before you start making real changes in your game?
We generally go through and we do like a lot of in-house testing as well. But when we start to notice the feedback also is cutting away at like the core pillars of the game. So we have like a couple of core pillars of what makes collateral damage. And like, you got fast, fun, chaotic, like like competitive.
All your buzzwords.
All these really buzzwords.
Yeah.
And if we notice that people are like, oh, these cooldowns, for example, are like, I just feel like I'm having to stop, and I have to stop over here, and I have to wait, and I have to not do this. Then we start to like look at it and analyze that, and we start to also analyze like footage, because we've done a bit of like video recording of like gameplay, and we watch when players are like like stopping for a breath, and we're wondering, are they stopping for the breath because they've run out of X, Y, and Z, or what's occurring in these circumstances, and then we compare that to what people have said and the reports that people have said, and then we decide, well, these are conflicting, and then cut it.
Basically,
And then, but like then we do some more testing afterwards, and if it goes well afterwards, then it's good. But if it doesn't, then we can just turn it back on, and that's the great thing about it. You can just turn it on and off.
So how long have you guys been working on this game, and how did it kind of come about?
It's nearly 2 years now.
It's getting close to 2
years.
Funnily enough, this is like the second project we started working on. The first project was way out of the scope of what we should have been doing for a first project. And then we're like, okay, so the major thing that we want to do is we want to build a community, and we need to make what we thought at the time was going to be easier. Turns out online functionality is in no way easier than just making AI. But we thought, people, you don't have to worry about coding the things. It's just people have to but then you've got people make weird choices.
They actively try to break your work.
Well, this guy actively
That's
breaks,
him, by the way.
this guy actively breaks my coding all the time.
I don't even need to try to break things. I can just sit in a room, it'll break, and I'll be like, this needs fixing.
He's the worst. Every time we go to an event, he's like, oh, Mitch, you should see how I broke that game just then. I was like, stop doing that.
It has to be broken so that it can be fixed.
Yeah, but they're going to see, the developers are going to see you walk up and potential contact, and oh no, it's John, he broke our game. Get rid of it. Yeah.
So
I've broken many games, including Stir Fry Symphony of the Machine, which I broke pretty significantly, and then they fixed it. So.
Now you're name dropping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The great thing is that
I'll break your game, don't worry.
breaking games is good. Breaking games is good. We basically we look for when people break the game. You don't know how many times this game Collateral Damage has been broken by somebody. Like, people have done so many janky things, and we're like, all right, we gotta fix that.
I think one of my favorite things before we fixed it. So there's this character who can knock characters away, called Obliques. He's this big tanky dude. He's all about disruption and stuff. And when we had it where there was two Obliques and they slapped each other to try and knock each other away, and they both just went it had a multiplicative effect, and both characters just went flying, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And did you keep that in the game, or did you take it out?
We actually took it out because we have a nice hover system where people characters float and stuff like that. It has the drawback though, if people go flying massively into the air, that it takes quite a long time
for them to fall down.
Right.
So as funny as it was not logical gameplay wise.
But you can still because of the hover system, you can still go crazy, and then there is occasions where you can go flying off. It's actually one of the fun things is actually trying to throw people off the map or toss somebody far away. We just don't want it to that astronomical percentage, here's the map, and then you're going somewhere over here.
I guess if you're waiting to fall but not eliminated, that's kind of...
Maybe you need, as you talked about having Smash Bros in there, maybe you need that sort of kill shader that kind of sits outside.
What we were talking about was having an evil portal robot in the sky to just swallow you if you're too high or something, or chase after you and get you.
Yeah, a bit like Lakitu on the cloud, picking you up in Mario Kart, that sort of thing just pops out of
that
the
character has a
probably
name.
more along the lines of in Jak 2. Referencing my own name, but where if you jumped in the water, there was a big snake thing that just gobbled you up, sort of thing, and then you'd respawn. So more along the lines of that, where you would just get destroyed.
So you guys have been working on this game for almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
And you came together as Murdoch students and have come on from there. How far along is the game now, and when can people get a chance to kind of play it? Where's the next time that someone could get hands-on?
Oh wow! We've already done tons of hands-on play already. But we will be at PAX this year. So
nice.
if you're in PAX Melbourne, then come on down. We'll be in the indie booth section, and
our
we'll
booth
be,
will of course be the best booth.
Our booth will have all the chaos.
Do you have some crazy action figures, or
I wish we had crazy action figures.
Yeah, well, being in Perth, it's a bit hard. But we're going. I've got some ideas. We're going to be crafting up some gigantic energy crystals
Nice.
that I would like to put around the booth as well. That'd be really nice.
Because that's one thing. If you look at your characters, they would look really cool as action figures.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I just don't know if either of us has the talent to make them into little action figures.
No, you'd have to.
I'd love to have like proper cool action figures of some of the characters.
Just export the models, 3D print them.
Yeah, that's what you.
Future.
We can. Well,
You're a genius.
it's sadly it's not as simple because 3D printing is a little bit more tough to do, and these particular assets, a lot of them are like made in such a way that you'll have to do a lot of.
So wait, you're telling me you don't just go Control P and then it comes out
No.
of your machine?
No, what? No,
what
that-
is this? I've been sold a lie.
Reality.
To be fair, I have no idea how it works.
Your game is called Collateral Damage. We're Matthew and Jak from Artisans Games, based in Perth.
I was going to mention just before, if you was going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
To let everybody know, we actually have a new character, and this is called Ballista. And Ballista is going to be posted. Should be posted up on our website right now, on our Facebook page right now, and it's basically going to be the newest, craziest character for everyone to check out.
So when people come down to PAX,
yeah, and when
give it a
people come
go.
down to PAX, you'll be able to actually try out this new character. We actually got, and we're going to be hosting a play session on our Facebook page for next month, at the end of next month.
So
Excellent.
And
Well,
in all
this-
game
well,
development
this-
fashion, of course, the new character will have to be overpowered.
Yes, and you guys are going to break the character.
feel
There we go.
free to put it in
Feel
front of us.
free to
We'll
break.
whatever we need to break.
Oh boy,
We'll
there's going to be a lot.
We'll stick up links to that on our website, which is www.pixelsif.com.au. You've got a video of the new character. Have you got it already? Or some
Yep.
images?
Yeah, there would be a photo of an image on our Facebook page right now.
So we'll stick that in, embedded in the post. If you want to find out some more stuff about the show, it's all up on there. Mitch, we've got previous episodes where we've talked to a bunch of different game developers and other people from around the game world, haven't we? Where should people go to find those?
Yeah, so you can just click episodes on our websites, or you can go on our website and you can go to iTunes or Pocket Casts, or just click the podcast app. It's on there. It should be. If you're in America, you can go to the Google Play Store. Sadly, if we're not in Australia, you can't. But hey, you're working on that, right, Johnny?
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to Sergey and Larry from Google, and we'll get this sorted out.
And our next episode will be on the 14th of September, but next week at the same time we will have Let's Play.
And we'll probably
be playing Collateral Damage.
Collateral Damage with these guys. So if you like them, come back next week at this time. My name's Gianni. This is Mitch.
Hey.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks,
No worries. Thank you,
Jak,
guys.
for
No worries.
coming on
Thanks
the
for
show.
having us.
We will be sharing all that stuff out there. Good to see you guys. We will see you guys again this time next week.
Is that gonna work?
Peace.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If the
We'll
buttons
find
work.
out. Wait, where's the outro music?
See ya.
Bye.